Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's Small Business Boot Camp. I'm Robert Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services. And we're excited to have you with us today. We've got a great presentation for you with a great presenter that we've been working with for many years. But before we jump in and do that, we like to start by having everybody post in the chat where you are tuning in from. We'd love to see where from throughout the state of Arizona and sometimes beyond our borders we have participants. So again, go to the chat, post up where you're tuning in from. So you've got Tucson, Tempe, more Tucson, excellent. Phoenix, downtown Phoenix, more Tucson, awesome. Phoenix, Sedona, Anthem, Goodyear, Phoenix, Sierra Vista, looks like. Phoenix, Chandler, Buckeye, Tucson. Man, it's a big battle between Tucson and Phoenix for the numbers today. Window Rock, awesome. Thank you for joining us from Window Rock. Window Rock has an amazing local park with the Window Rock. It's a really, really beautiful area. Peoria, Arizona, excellent. Continue posting up where you're tuned in from. Glad to see everybody here with us. We're going to jump right in here. So for those that are new to the boot camp, we like to start by thanking all of our community partners. We cannot do these webinars without our community partners, their time, their effort, and their expertise. And they give back of their time, they give back of their knowledge so small businesses can benefit and hopefully move the needle forward. Also with a Small Business Boot Camp, it is designed to help prepare, plan, and grow small businesses. And we do that through our webinars, sometimes some hands-on workshops. We also do lunch and learns. We try to do them virtually through webinars and the virtual lunch and learns so that we can reach all corners of the state and so everybody can have access to the quality material. But one of the other great things we do is, since we do them virtually, we post them in our content library. And our content library has well over 300 recorded webinars and resources to help support small business. You can access those at any time. There's no cost. And we also include the slide decks. So you can download those if that's something you need to help follow along, or there was a key piece in there that you want to go back and review, you can access those slide decks. So also, we like to share quickly some of the ACA's programs that support small business and the business ecosystem in Arizona. The list on the screen is just part of all the programs. You can go to azcommerce.com/programs or scan that QR code to take you to that page. You can find all those plus more. One of the programs we'd like to talk about is our Small Business Checklist. This is an online interactive tool that helps entrepreneurs, those that are they're looking to start a business, those that are in the process of starting, or those looking to scale their business, identify the commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance requirements at the local, state, and federal level. You can also do some business planning, understand the different ins and outs of some of the business structures and many other pieces in helping you get your business started or to grow it. As part of that, we have a very in-depth checklist, but we also have our virtual assistant, Sally. Sally can help you out with that as well. Just select to ask a question and you can let Sally's generative AI take over and provide those great answers for you. You can access the checklist by scanning that QR code. We'll also post the link in the chat. So some other updates is we have just launched our Lending Academy applications. Those are now open. The Lending Academy is a very targeted 6-week cohort. It targets businesses that have been in business for a couple of years. There's a number of requirements to participate. The goal is that when you're done with the program, you will have a packet ready to go to a lender. And we're focusing on those businesses that are looking for a loan of $50,000 or less to help grow and scale their business. But you can check that out. We'll post the link for it in the chat. but those applications are now open. And again, there are a number of requirements, and it's going to be limited to just 15 businesses. And there's, so everybody's aware, there is homework. This is a 6-week intensive program. There's the weekly sessions along with work to do in between those sessions. And so because it's limited, we want to make sure that all the 15 businesses there are fully committed to participating, because you'll receive the equivalent of about $1,000 to $1,500 worth of one-on-one specialized technical assistance as part of that program. So we had tested it in the fall, and we are going to launch our next cohort. So we're really excited about that. So let's look at some of our upcoming sessions. So you'll notice that the next session is Tuesday, March 25th, and then April 8th, we are going for the time being to go every other week with the boot camp. So it won't be every Tuesday, it'll be every other Tuesday from 9 to 10 a.m. We've been doing these webinars for almost 5 years. In April, it'll be the 5-year anniversary of the boot camp. When we started, we were doing them 5 days a week. And then we went to 2 days a week for a year and a half. And for the last, about 3 years, we've been doing once a week, every week. So we're looking to tweak that a little bit, and there may be some other future changes, but we want to make the boot camps as relevant and best possible to help support small businesses. Another thing before we jump into our session with Steve, I'm going to go, this is Steve's bio, but before we jump in with Steve, I want to recognize with everybody here on with us today, you've seen her host many times if you've been with us for a while, is Faith Ritchie. She's been the backbone of the boot camp for many years, and this will be her last session. So we just want to thank her for all that she has done, all the work to help the boot camp grow and be strong and find different presenters and support it. So I couldn't have done these without her, and she is moving on to another opportunity that's going to be a great opportunity for her career growth and economic development. So we're excited for her. We just want to thank her for all her work on the boot camp. So thank you, Faith. With that, we're going to jump into today's speaker. We have Steve Feld. He's the founder and CEO of Biz Coach Steve. He's written a number of books. He's done a lot of presentations for SCORE. That's where I first met him, and we're excited to have him with us. He's done a number of presentations for us in the past on both the boot camp and the Digital Academy. And so we're glad to have Steve with us. So Steve, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let you take over. And while Steve is pulling up and getting set up, we hope you have a lot of questions. And if you do, please post those in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen so we can use the chat for other items. We don't want to get your questions lost. So the Q&A helps us track those better and make sure we get to them. So we're excited to have you, Steve. So it's all yours.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Well, we're going to talk about identifying your target market today. So first of all, everyone is not your target market. And that's one thing I think a lot of people need to realize when it pops up here. So knowing and understanding your target market is crucial. Developing a clear understanding of your target market is essential for effective business and in your marketing, your strategies, and your communications. And business owners and leaders need to really know who their customers are and how to communicate with them, and knowing the most effective communication channels where their target market is. So hopefully after today, we're going to equip you guys with the knowledge and the skills to identify and analyze who is your target market. So we're going to dig deep into that. Welcome to everyone. And thank you, Robert, for that introduction. So we're going to just jump right in. If you guys want to know more about me, I'm on LinkedIn. Check me out. But we're here to help you guys. And so by the end of this presentation, we're going to help you understand how businesses determine and reach their target audience, understand how to personalize marketing efforts to better understand your customer needs and behaviors, and then realize businesses divide a market based on a variety of factors, and create a specific program approach for different segments. Yes, you can have different segments of a different target market. But you got to realize not everyone is your target market. And we hear that all the time in many presentations. When we say, who's your target market? People always go, it's everybody. No, it's not. And you got to really understand that, because if you're trying to be everything to everyone, in reality, you're nothing to everyone. No one will get you. No one understands your message. So you really need to know who your target market is. So we want you to understand that businesses and realize that many businesses divide their target market based on a variety of factors. And that's why they have different approaches or segments, if you will. So let's get in and talk about target audience versus target market. So I should have mentioned that I'm more than happy to talk to anyone about thinking that everyone is their target market. I have had too many conversations with many people at SCORE, on the boot camps, in the digital academies. Everyone is not your target market. And you really need to understand that. And I think that's one of the biggest struggles for startup businesses, is that's what they think. And they think, if I don't target everyone, I'm going to lose business. Where in reality, the opposite is true. The more you niche and the more you target, the better your business will be. So let's talk about target audience versus target market. Now, the term target audience and market sound pretty related, but they have a different meaning. So a target audience is narrower. It's segment within a broader target market. It's defined by shared characteristics such as demographics, psychographics, behaviors, and interests. I can kind of look at it this way. There's, you go grocery shopping, but people go to certain places like AJ's. That's a target audience, target marketer. People go to groceries, buy groceries, high-end groceries. Target audience could be the AJ's versus Food City. It gets a little bit more specific in it. So I'll give you an example, another one. A target audience for, say, a fitness brand, maybe women between the ages of 25 to 40 who are interested in health and wellness. On the other hand, a target market refers to the overall group of people or businesses that a company wants to reach to serve with its products or market. So it's a bigger reach. And like target audiences include potential customers who share common traits in, well, their needs. Target market also includes multiple target audiences that have different demographics. So best example I can give to you on this is McDonald's. McDonald's actually only has 3 targets. That's it. 3 customer segments. No more, no less. They don't care about anyone else. And these are them. And you can find all this on the internet under their business model canvas. So their 3 target audiences, target market, right? People who like fast food, target audience, they only target 3 groups: seniors, blue-collar workers, and families with small kids. That's it. Look at all their advertising, all their marketing. It fits into those 3 segments. That's it. They don't go after the health conscious. They don't go after what they call the outliners. They are very targeted. So I'm going to use these terms today a little bit interchangeably. So do apologize for that. You're going to get the gist of it. I just want you to understand target audience is much more specific than your target market. All right. And by knowing and understanding your target market, you can really start to focus how you spend your money on marketing and who will become those repeat purchasers. This is very critical if you have a service or a program where you have renewals. You really need to understand how they are buying and how they like to be communicated to. This is great, especially starting up. You don't have a big marketing budget, and you don't want to throw what they call spaghetti at the wall and just pray and hope something sticks. You really want to start honing in on your audience now and put your marketing dollars and get a return on that investment right away. So market research, what can I say about market research? It helps you drill down to find that everyone is definitely not your customer. Not all customers are the same, believe it or not. I know a lot of people think that too, huh? As they say, the riches are in the niches. And identify the traits that prevail among who wants to purchase your product or service, and then start focusing on that to promote it. That's your target market. Now, divisions of total market, you can break it down. They can have the same groups called market segmentation. This is getting in the deep in the weeds. And then you need to know your marketing mix, where these people are. And if you go through these boot camps, you're going to learn about the different like social media platforms, and they all have a different target audience. The big picture, you need to realize who your target audience is, and then find the right platform and how your target market wants to be communicated to. So I have a presence on all platforms, but I only focus on 2 because I know where my people are, my target market is. So separating out your strategies is a great way to do it. So an effective segmentation, got to meet the following requirements. Okay, market segments must be measurable. Big on that. If you've heard SMART goals, this is the time. You got to measure it in terms of purchasing power and size. So if you have a product that you could sell, your market size is 1 in 1 billion, it's probably not a sustainable product. But let's say if you start really doing the research, and there's plenty of it out there, and the greatest place to do research is your local library. They have lots of tools to do this kind of research for, well, free. Just get a library card. It's that easy. Not to mention you have ACA and many other programs that give you also the tools and resources to do this kind of research to find out who your target market is. So you could see how big it is. You got to be effective, communicate and serve that market. So it's not just like, hey, who is my market? Now you got to serve them. How do you maintain it? How do you build relationships? How do you ask for referrals? How are you going to keep this thing growing? And a lot of businesses think, hey, I'll do the one sale and I'm done. Yeah, it's not the way to do business. But maybe you have like a car. Maybe you're selling cars. Not everyone's buying a car every year. But if you have such a great relationship during that sale, that person will refer you all day. That's the key. That's how you serve your target market. Market segments must be significantly large enough for profit. I mean, like I was saying, you got to have enough of a market to sustain your business. Now, there are businesses out there that know their target market so well, and the niche of their market is maybe less than 100 total customers in the world. I don't think anyone here has that. And when I talk about those, one of them I came across, they actually replace lights in a nuclear power plant. You're thinking lights? No, the lights that go where the rods are. So it is radioactive. They create the lights and they have to replace it. So their market are only nuclear power plants, and they're thriving because they have a niche. They don't focus on everyone else. That is not their market. And market segments must not change too quickly. Those are called fads. So I know I saw Giselle on here. She always knows I use Pet Rocks as a fad. It's a fad. It changed. You got to hit it hard, but then they kept coming out with products trying to keep that fad alive, and the fad never stayed alive. You can put googly eyes on anything nowadays. So you got to think of a market segment. It's flipping so quick. Maybe you're not going to keep up with it because by the time you gain the knowledge to change, it's already changed and you're way behind the 8 ball, unless you're on the inside track. So you got to make sure you have a stable market to keep your business going for the long run. I mentioned McDonald's. I mean, the 3 target markets. So those 3 target markets, those market segments, they're not going to change no matter how our demographic shifts in our country, the world. They're going to stay true to those 3 segments. Will they try to introduce a salad? Yes. Did they? Yes. Was it a hit? No. Why? The health conscious people realized when they looked at the packaging, the calories and everything else. McDonald's says, we'll still offer it, but that's not our target because people requested it. So they understand. Now we're going to get in benefits of knowing your target audience. Some of the benefits, I mean, I love this because if you really know your target audience, you can start asking them. If you guys already have customers, start asking them, why do they do business with you? I know it sounds kind of crazy. Buy them a cup of coffee, whatever it takes. Get that information. And you're going to test things and you're going to change things. It's going to be fluid until you really hone in on who your target audience is. So first of all, develop a winning brand identity. If you can't say what you do in 30 seconds or less, your brand identity is crumbling. You don't have that identity. You don't have that focus yet. And we hear this all the time, especially in the digital academy. People are always going, they ramble on and you don't know what they actually do, who they serve, how they help them, and what problems do they solve. So this is where you are speaking to your brand. You help who, what are their problems, and how you solve them. This is where you're going to make sure that is resonating with your target market. Give you another example. In one of my businesses, I was targeting insurance agency owners and financial planners. Next thing I know, I was filled up with clients. Not one of my clients was in that market. So I started asking them, why did you go with me? They go, we ignored insurance agency owner, put in business owner, and everything else was speaking to me. So I changed that to business owners and entrepreneurs. My business didn't suffer, but now I was speaking to them in their language, and it increased my brand identity. So craft marketing strategies that work. So if you're trying to sell to everyone, your strategy is going to be literally spaghetti on the wall. You're going to just spray and pray. But if you know your brand, who your market is, you start using a sniper rifle and not a shotgun, and really start using marketing strategies that work and identify who your market is. So if you're speaking to me in my lingo, my brand, and like hitting my pain points, I'm going to buy from you. But there are certain products and services that I can't identify with and I ignore. We all do this. When a commercial comes on that doesn't mean anything, we subconsciously block it out. But if your marketing strategy is speaking to that audience, your ears perk up and you're going to listen. Improving customer acquisition. I can't stress this enough. This is how the basis of business is sales. So you're always looking for that next customer. And I've had some people like, at one point in time, I had 15 clients and 15 clients when I was maxed. So I had to learn another way of bringing on clients that didn't overtax me with my time. This is where I talk to my customers and improve customer acquisition. So how to gain more customers by freeing up more time. So instead of one-on-one coaching, I went to group coaching, got to help more people. This is also, I also had a now different segment, group coaching versus one-on-one. So I created another whole segment. I spoke differently to the group people than I did to the one-on-one people. My marketing was different, slightly different. They spoke differently, but they resonated with each group individually. And this one, I think we all have been down that road. We've all had bad customer service. But how do you increase your customer service? It's by speaking your language with these following things. This is where you can really elevate it because you know your target market so well. You know what they're going to say next or what their pain point is coming up next. So if you help people, say you're a life coach, you're going to help them through their immediate trauma, possibly. And then you know what's coming up next is the recovery. So you have programs, and this is where your satisfaction keeps coming in because you're going to lead them down a program and you're always speaking to them. You're not ditching them right after the first making them feel good and healing them. You really want them to keep with you. You also want them to realize you're keeping your brand promise to them and you're always speaking to them. And this is something someone told me a long, long time ago. I ignored it forever. And then I realized they were right. Promote brand loyalty. This is amazing. Satisfied customers are going to stay with you longer. They're the ones who are going to refer you. Will everyone refer you? No. Got to get over that. But promote that loyalty. Get them on your side. Have them as your brand ambassadors, if you will. Have them as your raving fans. If you guys haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. And if you don't, if you don't know who your target market audience is, that's what we're going to get into. Focus on marketing your materials. How many times have we received that spam email that doesn't have anything to do with anything we have? That's marketing to everyone. So they're just throwing it out there and hoping it'll work. Now, if you don't know who your target audience is, this is where we got to get into. I'll give you one example. Levi's. I got to read this one. Hotness comes in all shapes and sizes. That was Levi's tagline. It was their campaign. So it was for a brand called Curve ID Jeans. It was meant to target curvier women. So, however, the ad exclusively showed thin models. Do you see a disconnect here? So it did not represent the average American woman's body. So it actually alienated the brand's target audience from the product. The product failed miserably, really fast. So you got to have, that's where that alignment comes in. When that brand identity, the marketing strategies, they're in alignment to who your market is. All right, who are the people that make up that target market? This is demographics. Demographics based on common characteristics. So some demographics are aged, gender, ethnicity, education, occupation, employment status, income, family status. Okay, big group. You can also create the thing called an avatar. And one thing I always find funny is everyone always calls their avatar Steve. I don't know why. But this is where you can sit down and write down your avatar. Who's your target audience? How old are they? Are they male, female? What's their ethnicity? What's their education level? Occupation? Are they employed? Income levels? Family status? Married? Kids? What? Really start putting some deep thought into that. And then you have demographics. So demographics could be a little bit deeper in there. So this is create your avatar and really know who it is. Some resources calling demographics Bureau of Labor Statistics and the census data. That's, once again, go to your library. They will help you out and dig through all that for you to really help you out. Next, where are your people located? When I say your peeps, are they in your local area or in the state, city? Do you work online? Do everything online? Where do they live? Are they in rural, urban, suburban settings? What's the population density and growth rate where your target market is? Believe it or not, I like picking on McDonald's because there's so much data on McDonald's. Is they actually go through all this and more. They look at every demographic, how the population is trending in a certain area before they buy that property. And then Burger King is one of the smartest, I don't want to say burger places out there. Don't eat either places, and I'm not endorsing either, by the way. Burger King actually sets up close to wherever McDonald's buys their land. And the reason is they know McDonald's did all the research. Pretty smart on them. So you got to know where your people are located and how they're connecting with you. Next, how do they think? What are their opinions and values? This is where you really got to get into that. Do they align with you? I know someone has a Pilates studio, and their people have they have same interests, same kind of lifestyle, but they also talk to their people or the customer before they become a customer on their values. And they want to know that they're going to train someone with some integrity and someone who's going to last long through the program. So these are, just some extra things, but you need to know the opinions, values, their interests, lifestyle, what attitudes they have about your product. Oh my God, that's one's big. Do they love it? Do they hate it? Do they think, oh, I have to have it? Or do they want it? And what needs do they have to compel them to purchase your product? This is the key. This is why you're doing all this. Do they have that need and want to purchase your product? That's why you're doing this target market. Because if your message is speaking to them, it's going to compel them to purchase. If you're throwing it all in the wall and thinking everyone is, everyone becomes deaf and they don't see it. So you also have to think about your psychographics. That's like speak of the Pilates studio, they wanted to talk to people who are like health conscious. They want to see if they're going to be active enough. This Pilates studio actually put people on a meal plan customized to that individual to help them get to their goal. So they customized everything to each customer's goal. That set them apart from the other Pilates studio that was right down the road that just said, come in and do Pilates. This is where they knew their market very well. All right. What makes you unique? I know everyone's unique in their own way, but look, I like picking on pizza here. Pizza's pizza, but we all go to different places for pizza based on many different factors. Why? They're speaking to us. Maybe we like the flavor, those kind of things. So like if you're opening up that pizzeria, what products do they typically use? You can look at those. Now, customers want benefits and they want results from products and services that they purchase. All of us are the same way. We buy a car on emotion, but we also have functionality and so many other factors in it. You need to know what are those factors. How often do they use them? This one's always a good one. I mean, that's what makes them unique, right? You could be on that subscription model and do it every single month. Maybe it's a product that's consumable where it needs to be like that, like razor blades. And then how sensitive are they to price changes? This one, especially nowadays, gets very critical. I always say you're always going to have 8% of your clients all the time that are going to leave you if you increase your prices by 1 penny, because they're just shopping the deal. They don't care about you and what you stand for, or any of that. They're just shopping for the lowest price. You want to build a reputation and a brand, so no matter what happens to your price changes, and they will change, these people are going to stay with you. Why are so many brands, people are loyal? Starbucks is one of those. They increase those prices and they still have a following. They lose some of them because they are sensitive to price changes. And then how loyal are they? I mean, there are so many loyal brands out there. And I bet if we took a poll, how many of you have been using the same brand for who knows how long? And you're loyal to it. Even if another brand comes back on the market that's better, you're still going to stick with what you've been using. And you really need to understand it. How are they purchasing your products or services and from where? I mean, I have one person I know, they were in real estate and they started accepting crypto, working with the banks and accepting crypto for buying homes. It was his niche. It worked really well. The reason was the homes he sold were in the millions. So he knew his target market and gave them another way to purchase. Same thing with being online. You got to make it easy for your customers to purchase products and your services. The more clicks it takes them to get to the end, the more frustrated we all get. We've all been there. Like, when am I going to finally, click buy? I always look at it like Amazon created the one click for a reason. Why? They wanted you to stay emotionally charged to their item and buy it and get out. Let's see, we got next 5 steps, finding your target audience. Okay, you got to know where these people are, or what are the characteristics of your own products and services. By that, I mean, what problems are you solving? And this is an exercise I've worked with many coaches and customers with, is on get 2 pieces of paper. On one of them, put down all the things your product or services solve. And then on another one is all the challenges your target market has based around what you do. So if you're a life coach, what do your customers want? Start listing them out. Don't overthink this. Just start writing. Just do it. Then you take all their challenges and start matching it up with the solution you have for them. If you don't have a solution for them for that problem, then you need to find it. And you need to step out of yourself. Think of it. You got to look deep, bigger picture. It's not about you at this moment. It's about got to get in the head of your customers, the head of your target market, and think of what are their challenges, their problems, and then come up with that solution on how to solve them. This one's tough. You'll probably get through about 10, 15, no problem. And then after that, you're going to start struggling. This is where your market research will come in. So you really want to know where these people are, what's in their head. You got to get it out of there. What are they thinking when they're looking for your product? And then this is where it's been out there. It's called unique selling proposition. This is where you start creating your unique selling proposition. But you really need to know what are the challenges your target market has and how you solve them first. And that leads into the second one, researching your market. Let's see if I get it deeper. Oh, there we go. I just covered this one. Okay, researching your market. Have a need or your product, a service they can fill. Is there a need out there that someone is willing to pay you for that solution? We all want a solution to something. Like I mentioned about a car to get from A to B, maybe it's for work, for transportation, it's for taking the kids, whatever it is. But people are willing to pay for that solution. So I always say, scope out your competition. I mean, that's the best research I've ever done, is I got to know my competition all the time. And as I went and had dinner with them, who do they target? What are their demographics? And here's where I loved is, like, I started listening to them and started realizing there's gaps in the market that my competitors were not filling. That's where my unique selling proposition came in. So I filled in those gaps, even though my direct competitors were 2-3 miles down the road. We all knew we did the same but different things. And they actually shared all of this with me. Same thing. If you're looking to get into that pizzeria, go research pizzerias, go talk to them. Just don't build one right next door. Then they won't talk to you. Scope out your competition. See what they're doing. Look at their marketing materials. See where those marketing materials are. What social media platforms are they on? How are they using wording? Look at all these things. Definitely look at the big boys too. They've done that research. They have all that resources. Why not get an idea and utilize that material for you and make it yours? Don't copy and plagiarize. Make it yours, specific to your brand. All right, I mentioned the Steve, the avatar, the buying persona. Here's where you can get deeper. We kind of hit a few of these: age, professional, title. Give them a title, give them a name. It could be your Steve, your Sally, whoever. Give them a name, but really understand who your market is. I'm not going to read all these, but the one we've already hit on was the pain points. That's the problems that need solving. That's why we all of us seek out things. My shoe has a hole in it, so I have a problem. I know maybe I have to do a little research to find out where to solve that problem. Which shoe store should I go to? What kind of shoe? And it goes on and on. This is where you really need to know your target market. Media consumption. I love this one. And the reason is, it's like, are they on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram? Where are they? Are they staying on? What kind of things do they like? They like those 30-second videos, or they like a short paragraph? Do they like graphics? You really need to know. Should know their hobbies too and their habits. Why not? Get deep into this. And then that way you can figure out your marketing channel. So now you've done the research. Let's say your target market is on Instagram. Great. Focus on Instagram, and you can actually target your market on Instagram. Now that you know who your people are, I always say your peeps, target them. Ignore the rest. Think of it like a bell curve. We've all bringing you all back to high school, that horrible bell curve. Well, you want to get rid of the outliers. They're not going to be your customers at all. And then you have the big part of the bell. And then right down the middle is that sweet spot. Those are your sweet customers. Well, then you're going to have some of that downward side's bell. They're your outliners, your shoulders, if you will. Think of it like that. Those are your shoulder customers. They may or may not purchase from you. They may or may not need your services or products. But if something in your message is hitting them and speaking to them, they will. You're focused on the main gist of here, not everything else. That will actually change how everything happens in your business. Watch what happens. That's niching down. And find out, look at websites. I always say your competitors too. See where your target market, what kind of things they're on to, where do they like to follow? One of my customers said they have followers on their like Facebook page. They look at that person's personal page and see what groups they are in. That gives them a great indicator of market research right there for them. But it also gives them, what are they into? And then this business owner started adjusting some of his verbiage because he noticed trends within his customers on what they liked outside of him. And he brought him into a bigger sphere, and he grew his business because he knew the target market really well. Okay, this isn't going to be perfect. You're going to do some testing. Testing your audience, I mean, it's not the greatest way, but you got to test. So before one of my businesses that I started up, I thought about my market, I thought about their problems, I thought about the solutions I can provide them, but I wanted to test it before I put one penny into this business, because I knew if I go in, I'm going to go in. I started contacting people in that industry, my target market industry, and asking them to complete a survey. I did it all over the phone, bought them a cup of coffee afterwards, sent them a coffee card. That gave me the greatest research. I then had to go back to the drawing board, change some of the problems that they have and the solutions I provide. And based on all that feedback through those surveys and everything, I actually came up with something even better that I never would have thought about when I first started. So polling audiences, testing your market, see how it is, even with other business owners. Get in a group with a whole bunch of business owners. I mean, the Digital Academy is phenomenal to test your audience, to see if what you're saying actually means something, and people get it. So test and refine. So how do you reach them? Well, you defined your target audience. You did the research. You're now using the right marketing channel. That's where they're all at. Not all of them, but a majority. Tailoring your message to them and analyzing and adapt. You got to be flexible. You're going to have your highs, your lows. You're going to make changes. The business I talked about, where I was targeting insurance agency owners and financial planners, I continually analyzed, polled my customers. I polled prospects. Why did you reach out to me? What ad did you see? I always measured that. And it really made a big change because I didn't do everything in print because I changed everything online and I was able to adapt really fast and I grew my business even faster. Focus on your marketing approach with your audience. This is where you really have to speak to them. You know where they're at, target them. Once again, don't be everything to everyone. You're thinking, I'm losing sales. You're not. If someone understands your message and it means something to them, they will come to you. They will reach out. They will click on something. They will call. They will do something. But if it doesn't mean anything to them, that's not your market. Move on. That's just the way it is. Oops. And then that's all I had, Robert.
Excellent. Well, we have a question that was posted up in the chat, and I liked it. It fits really well with those last couple slides. So it was from Brian. He says, I narrowed down my targets and created an individual client profile. I've developed that list, but I am having difficulty finding contact information such as email addresses. Google/AI searches is time consuming. Tools like Zoom or Apollo are expensive for small business owners. Do you have suggestions on getting this intel that isn't so labor intensive?
Yes. There's a thing called Data Axle. Libraries subscribed it. If you went to it, it'll be thousands and thousands. It's called Data Axle. And you could do this all from your home. So if you have a library card, you go to your local library's website, they'll ask you to log in. You can go to the resource section, Data Axle. In Data Axle now, you can put in so many specific things like the region, how many employees. It'll give you all the data on those companies. Then you have to pay to get websites and email addresses. And there's a hack around it. Well, now that I know your company, let's say it's the ABC company, then I can Google that. I find your company, and then I use a thing called Hunter.io. Any emails that are not present on that website, even though I can usually find, who you are, I can click on that. It'll find any email on the backside, and now I have their email. And then now is where your marketing, your target outreach comes into play. It's free,
Thank you.
worth a little effort, and I swear to God, it's paid off.
Excellent. So we have another question from Darren. It says, for entertainment businesses, especially in the creative industry, such as music production, do you have specific tips or resources for this type of business?
Yeah, are you running a club or we'd have
It said music production, so
music production? Yeah, it's about palm pressing and getting who's in the who's who in the industry. I mean, I was in the music industry for decades, and I know it was all a relationship business, but the people who were starting up started working for someone else and started building their Rolodex, if you will. And I started noticing the people who had the best vision market and their 30-second pitch, those are the ones who won clients all the time.
yeah, he said music composition, so that would tie in that relationship.
Yep.
Excellent.
And I know a guy who does, he's a vocal teacher. And he does that all through Zoom. And you think he networks like a machine. He goes, you might not be my customer, but I know you know someone who would like to sing better. Simple.
So let's see, no more questions. Thought we have one just popped in. Was that Data Accent or Data Axle?
Data Axle, AXLE. I can't even remember what its former name was. It's usually under resources. Once you log into your library website, go to resources, all of them will have it. And there's a ton of resources. So the Census Bureau, Department of Labor Statistics, it's all in there.
What was the other one that you mentioned after doing that to find the?
Oh, Hunter.io, hunter.io. So it's an app, a Chrome extension. And I love this. So I'll go to say, Brian's website. I don't see Brian listed anywhere, but I know it's his website through all this other research. I'll hit Hunter.io. There's a free version and paid. I use the free up to so many searches. And all of a sudden it'll tell me where that contact form goes. And now I have Brian's email address. Another great place, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like the greatest resource out there, because now it's like, okay, I know Brian's name, I know his company, I'll go to LinkedIn, and guess what? If he was really good, because I know we're having a LinkedIn presentation coming up, if he was really good and had his LinkedIn profile optimized, I can go to more information, and there's his email address in there.
Yep. Yeah, LinkedIn's a great way for finding people and businesses, and if they don't have their email address, you can try to connect with a personal note right there. So yeah, we'll definitely have a LinkedIn presentation coming up sometime soon.
Yeah, and people will respond more on LinkedIn because it's a B2B networking than a cold email or a cold call. Going through and connecting with them, and don't go right into the sale. Start off with something to get them to talk.
Steve, we had a great question from Darren. He says, is there any way to reach you directly? So yes, please post it in the chat, Steve, if you can, your contact information, or if you have a slide, you can bring that up.
Yeah, I think I left off that slide this time. Yeah. How's that?
Yep. Oh, wait, that went to just
sorry, folks. See, not knowing my target audience right there. There we go.
All right, so Steve's contact information is in the chat. You can access that. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up, give everybody a few minutes back to their day, or get ready for your next meeting if you have one right after this. But we appreciate you being with us. We hope you enjoyed this session. Again, we want to thank Faith for all her work as we wrap up this session. And just a reminder, our next session is Tuesday, March 25th, so in 2 weeks. So we hope you have a great week and a half. One thing we're going to do in this week's email and next week's email, really pay attention to that email newsletter that comes out in the resources section. There's some really important stuff in there. A couple things that I forgot to mention earlier there's the Phoenix Business Journal Inno Awards for innovative companies. You can self-apply. There's also a link for the Small Business Awards, and you can self-apply for those. And if you don't apply, you can't win. So I encourage everyone that's listening, if you have a small business and you're in the Metro Phoenix area, apply for it. It's a great opportunity to potentially get recognized there. So see those, and then we will have for next week, we're going to highlight a previous boot camp session because we have the recordings in the content library. So be on the lookout for that. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Again, we want to thank Steve for being with us and thank all of you for being here today. And we hope to see you in a couple weeks. Bye. Have a great week.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.